Hi everyone, Flavia here, and thank you so much for joining me today. In this video, I will be showing you all of the note cards that I created, featuring some of Spellbinder's March 2026 subscription clubs in case you are looking for some inspiration. I actually meant to create with these supplies and share this video with you last month. However, ever since I decided to move my craft room upstairs, I am still trying to catch up with the different projects, so I do apologize for that. So even though these sets are not available anymore for purchase, at least as a subscription club, know that Spellbinders sometimes make some of the clubs available later for purchase as a regular product. And by the way, at Spellbinder's website, we can find all of the previously released clubs that are now available for purchase without the need of becoming a subscriber, all sorted out for easy access, and I will make sure to add the link in the description box down below. And if you don't see a specific club that you are looking for, know that sometimes Spellbinders do bring them back, so try checking it out a month later to see if that's the case. However, know that the only way to not miss out on any of these amazing sets is by becoming a subscriber. So without further ado, let's get started. So Spellbinders offers many different types of subscription clubs, and they are simply amazing. So with these clubs, we can either subscribe just to the ones that we like the most or to the All Clubs Great. The All Clubs Great subscription clubs come with all of the different subscriptions such as embossing fold of the month, die of the month, stamp of the month, and so on, along with a few exclusive sets. And these two sets that I have over here are the All Clubs Great exclusive sets for March 2026. So over here on my right, we have a small die set with a few plates that we can use to cut out pieces to make a #1 foam finger, which is just so much fun. And then on my left, we have an exclusive press plate, actually press and foil plate. So with the set, we get this large plate that we can use to add patterns to the front panel of an A2 size note card. And down here we have 4 different sentiment strips, and actually here is the packaging. So here is an example of the pattern that we can add to the front panel, and down here we have all of the different sentiments that we can create with the plates included in the set. The first one reads "Wanted to say hi." Then we have "The Sky's the Limit." The next one is "Your Pure Classic." And then the last one that reads "Have a Super Birthday." And these are the sets that I used to create this fun-shaped note card. So for this note card, I decided to use a craft color envelope, and I added 2 thin cardstock strips to make it match the note card. This is an A2 size side folding, and this is how it opens, and it can definitely stand on display. So I decided to hot foil this blue panel using silver foil for some sparkle, and then right in the center we have one #1 foam finger die cut and a sentiment strip that reads "The Sky's the Limit." And I did use both of these sets that I just showed you to create this note card, along with a different one by Spellbinders that was not released as a subscription club, which is this one. I actually don't remember the name of this one, but I will make sure to link all of the products used in the description box down below. I believe this was recently released. It comes with many different plates that we can use to cut out these fun arched panels. So I used the large one to cut out a fun-shaped note card, and I placed it over an A7 size note card, making sure to offset the metal plate on this side so it wouldn't cut this side at all, in order for me to end up with these 2 connected pieces that I am now using as a card base. So that's it for this first note card. So moving on, before I show you the next note cards, I actually want to show you the embossing folders that I used to add texture to all of the note cards that I'm about to show you. So when it comes to embossing folders, Spellbinders actually offers 2 different types of subscription clubs: the 2D embossing folder and the 3D embossing folder of the month. They are both the same size, which is about 9 by 6 inches. each embossing folder has a different design. However, each design, each one of these folders will work really well with this month's specific theme. So this is the 3D embossing folder of the month, which is so unique. And because this is a 3D embossing folder, it will add a lot of texture, way more than the 2D embossing folder, which is this one. And here is a quick look at the patterns that we can add to the cardstock with the 2D embossing folder. I love getting the two folders because, first of all, you get two different patterns, and I actually like the option to sometimes adding just a little bit of texture and a lot of texture to my panels. So both options are great, and it is really just a matter of preference. So let's now move on to the next note card. By the way, to make this note card, aside from using the exclusive press and foil plate to create the sentiment "You are a pure classic" and the exclusive die set to create this #1 foam finger and the embossing folder that I just showed you, I also used another subscription club, which is this one. This is the stitching die of the month for March 2026, and as we can see here with this plate, we can cut out many pieces to create a large hat, which is what I did here. And remember that even though this is a stitching die, you can actually not do any stitching at all if you don't feel like it. You can actually just use the outline plates. Each one of these pieces to make the hat comes with the plate to just cut out a solid piece. So you can actually use just this to create a hat with no stitching. However, I did decide to do some stitching with navy blue thread, and I love the result. I just could not skip the stitching for this die cut hat. Another fun thing with this set is that notice here that this hat has a patch at the front that I cut out from silver cardstock that reads Dad, which is just perfect for making note cards for dads, of course, for any occasion, and especially for Father's Day. However, aside from the patch that reads Dad, we also have a few other options. One that reads Boss, which is just great. I'm gonna make one for all of my friends. And we have another one that reads MVP, super cool. And another one, it's upside down, but this one reads #1. So these are just perfect for making note cards for any occasion. And I love that with this set, I'm gonna have the chance to easily create a more masculine type of note card, which is actually one of the things that I struggle the most with. With this Stitching Die Club, we also get 3 sentiment strips. The first one that reads Lucky You're Ours. Then we have a second sentiment option that reads A True Original, and a third one that reads Birthday MVP. These are really cool sentiments to add to your note cards, especially for guys. And to be honest, I did not use these because I completely forgot. I was rushing and I completely forgot to use these sentiment strips, but I will definitely be using them the next time I make note cards similar to this one. I love the design. I really enjoyed combining all of the different clubs to create a different scene, and notice here how much texture we get by using that 3D embossing folder. And this is the envelope, another craft color envelope with a cardstock strip to match the note card that goes inside. And to turn this into a Father's Day note card, I did stamp the sentiment Happy Father's Day onto the flap of this envelope using a really old set by Spellbinders. And here is another note card that I created using this stitching die of the month. So this is pretty large. This is an A7 size note card with a landscape orientation. This note card has a lot going on and I simply love it. So I began with a light pink panel, and notice here that it has a lot of texture thanks to the 2D embossing folder that I showed you earlier, which is this one. For the sentiment Happy Birthday, I used a die cut sentiment that I just happened to have around. I cut out this sentiment using older plates by Spellbinders. Then up here we have another die cut hat. This time I used white thread to do the stitching, and the patch at the front reads Boss. And then down here on the bottom right corner, we have a pair of sneakers, which is just the cutest thing ever. It was so much fun assembling these die-cut pieces. So to create this pair of pink sneakers, I actually used a subscription club that I haven't shown you yet, which is this one. So this is the Spellbinders large die of the month for March 2026, and it is just amazing. It comes with lots of plates that we can use to not only create a pair of sneakers, but we also have options down here to cut out different types of flowers and blooms, which I'm gonna show you an example next. And then down here we have metal plates that you can use to cut out a spatula, a fork, a sausage over here, and a bottle. So this set is simply amazing, and the design options with these plates are just endless. So aside from this large pink note card, I actually created a few other ones featuring this set, and I'm gonna begin with this one over here. So for this one, I created my own pocket shape envelope using a really old set by Stampenders, I believe. Unfortunately, it is not available anymore. But since I didn't have any pink envelope and I really wanted one for this note card, I decided to make my own using lightweight cardstock, and I added a die-cut flower at the front to match the note card that goes inside. So I cut out all of the pieces to make this note card, the sneakers, flowers, and sprigs, using metal plates included in this large die set, released as a subscription club for March 2026. To add texture to the background panel, I used the 3D embossing folder, and because I wanted to make a birthday note card, I added a happy birthday die-cut sentiment that I happen to have around. By the way, I do have lots of die-cut sentiments ready to go for when I'm in a rush making note cards, which was the case, so I used this really old die-cut sentiment. Inside it is blank and it opens like so. It has a landscape orientation to fit all of these die-cut pieces. As a final touch, I did add yellow flat back beads to the center of the smaller flowers. By the way, the Chinese stars that I added to the sneakers, the plate to cut out these stars are not included in any of the subscription clubs. I simply used an older plate included in this set. Notice here that it has this small plate that cuts many stars at once. This was released as the Spellbinders Crafty Advent Calendar for day 3. So that's what I decided to add to the center of this white die-cut patch. However, know that you can actually add any element inside, such as die-cut hearts or even the initials of the person who is going to receive the note card. So even though I love the colorful sneakers, I just had to make a black and white, which is what I did for these two next note cards. So let me actually move this out of the way so I can show you both note cards side by side. So this one has a sentiment in English and it has a portrait orientation. This one has a sentiment in Portuguese with a landscape orientation. Both of these note cards have a black envelope that I got from Amazon, an A2 size envelope, and I simply added a cardstock strip to bring everything together and match the note card that goes inside. So to create the sentiments in Portuguese for my note cards, by the way, Portuguese is my first language, because I cannot find supplies in Portuguese, I make my own by just typing and printing it over heavyweight cardstock or medium weight cardstock, and then I die cut it using older die plates that I happen to have and that actually fits the size of my printed sentiment. So for this one, I kept it simple with a pair of black and white sneakers in the center. Then at the bottom we have the sentiment, and this note card also has lots of texture thanks to that 3D embossing folder. Once I finished the note card, I decided to add some die-cut black stars here and there just for fun, and that's it for this note card in Portuguese. Moving on, here we have a top folding A2 size note card with a sentiment at the bottom that reads "Happy Father's Day, you are our greatest joy." So to stamp this sentiment, I actually used an awesome set by Spellbinders. So this is the Spellbinders subscription club for March 2025. I love this one because with this set we can stamp many sentiments at once and then use the coordinating die plate to cut them all at once. So I have lots of these sentiments ready to go. Because you can only stamp all of the sentiments at once, and I needed to stamp two different ones that were not next to each other, it was a little bit tricky to do so, but doable. So what I did was I used the Mist Stamping tool to hold my cardstock in place, and then I positioned the first message, Happy Father's Day, exactly where I wanted it to go. And then I used post-it pages to cover the sections of this white panel that I did not want to stamp with all of these other messages. Once I stamped the first sentiment, I moved the stamp to position the second message that I wanted in place, and then I also moved the post-it pages to protect my white cardstock from all of these other messages that I did not want to stamp. Regarding the die cut elements, I used metal plates included in the Spellbinders large die of the month to cut out all of these pieces. So this note card is featuring a pair of black and white sneakers. Then we have some green branches coming from the sneakers. And then a spatula, a fork with a sausage, and a beer bottle right in the center. And again, I used the 3D embossing folder to add some texture to this background panel. Inside it is blank. I actually added a few stars, leftover stars over here. By the way, because I did not do a good job centering the sentiment at the bottom, I actually decided to add a star down here and then up here to make it look even. And I am pointing that out because this is actually a good trick for fixing your mistakes, and I do that all the time. I'm always using die cut pieces to fix or hide my mistakes. And what else? I think I was actually going to say something, but I completely forgot. Oh, by the way, I did adhere the sneaker in the back using liquid glue, and then I added a little bit of dimension to the one sitting on top by adhering it to the front panel using foam adhesive. Not sure you can tell, but this one has a little bit of dimension. Moving on, I actually have two more note cards to show you, featuring the large die for March 2026, which are these two. So these are very simple, and I decided to make these note cards using the leftover pieces because I was having too much fun and ended up cutting more pieces than what I actually needed. So both of these note cards have a very fancy envelope. I make my own envelope using the Stampendous A2 gift card holder and envelope die set. I love the design of this envelope, however, unfortunately, this die plate is no longer available. So to make this envelope, I used metallic silver cardstock by Recollections, which is a brand of cardstock sold at Michael's. I have lots of this metallic cardstock that I love using to make fancy envelopes. So the coating, the silver coating, is only on one side of the paper. Inside, it is just regular craft color, which means it is very easy to score this type of cardstock without actually cracking and tearing the metallic side of the paper. So that is why I love using the Recollections cardstock to make envelopes or anything that I need to fold over. So both of these note cards have a fancy metallic silver envelope, and they are both top folding. They both have the same die cut elements and the same panel. Actually, notice here, I don't know if you can tell, but the panels are a little bit different. I used the same 3D embossing folder, which is this one that I showed you. However, for this one, I used the embossed side of the cardstock, which is the side that we usually use with the sections raised. And for this one, just for fun, because I love both sides of the cardstock, I used the back, the debossed side of the cardstock. So here is an even closer look so you can see the difference. So the raised side of this panel is actually glued facing the white card base. So if you have never done that, I highly recommend you check out the back of your dry emboss panel because both sides are actually pretty cool. Regarding the sentiment, I actually used another older set by Spellbinders, which is actually very similar to the stamp set. For these two note cards, I used the Gleam of the Month for March 2025. So with this one, again, we have a large plate that hot foils many different sentiments at once, and it also comes with a die plate that cuts all of these sentiments at once, which is such a time saver, and because of that I already have lots of foiled sentiments ready to go and I wanted to use it, so that's what I did. So this note card has two sentiment strips, one that reads thanks for everything, and then the one at the bottom that reads your support means the world. Then for the second one, I really wanted to make a note card using the sentiment to my brother, because people sometimes ask me if I have note cards for brothers and sisters and I never do. And with this set you can actually create hot foil sentiment for both, for brothers and for sisters. So that's what I did today. I added one sentiment strip that reads to my brother, and then the one at the bottom that reads you inspire me daily. So this is all that I have for today, and I hope you enjoyed watching and felt inspired to create. By the way, I will try my very best to release another video next week featuring Spellbinder's April 2026 subscription clubs, so stay tuned for that. Remember, you can always head over my blog for pictures and a visual supply list of all products used to make today's note cards. And you can find the link to my blog in the description box down below. As always, thank you so much for spending your time with me. I hope you have a wonderful day, take care, and happy crafting!